Director of the Swami Vivekananda Cultural Center at the Consulate General of India in Durban, Dr. Chaitanya Prakash Yogi, Professor Sadhana Manik, Mr. Sapiwe Mchuru, Mr. Piyush Khandelwal, distinguished guests and online viewers. Namaskar and welcome to the first episode of Khel Vishwa, and that is the world of sports. Indeed, today in our midst, we have a very dynamic lady, a lady who is very multifaceted indeed, and that is Professor Sadhana Manik. Professor Sadhana Manik is an associate professor in geography education within the School of Education at the University of KwaZulu-Natal, and she's ranked number 1 in 2018 to 2020 in kata, a sub-discipline of karate. In the master's division in South Africa, her research interests include the internationalization of education, teacher mobility and migration, and student accesses. She received an award for her contribution to higher education by the International Women's Club in 2020. She was ranked in the top 30 most published researchers in 2019 within the College of Humanities at the University of KwaZulu-Natal, and she's received an Excellence in Teaching Award in the year 2018. In 2018, she also won the Masters Kata in the karate category at the Arnold Classic competition in Santon, and also became the National Masters Kata champion after winning the SA Nationals. She has held the ranking for number 1 in this division of Masters Kata for 3 consecutive years. Namaste and welcome, Sadhana Ji, for your interaction today on the first episode of Khel Vishwa. Okay, Sadhana Ji, I just have a few interesting questions to understand your very interesting career and journey through this very dynamic sport of karate. So I'd like to know what inspired you to choose karate as your sport, and for how many years have you been practicing karate?
So I'm going to start with your second question first, if you don't mind. I've probably been practicing karate for about 29 years. I think karate actually chose me. Don't think I really chose the sport. It happened probably the other way around. I actually chose martial arts. That was my interest field, and I chose it rather late in life. I started doing karate when I was about 21, and not actually karate, martial arts, with the late Bob Davies. So that was, we did a bit of weapons, aikido, self-defense. We had international senseis visit, and I think I was a Bruce Lee fan. And that was probably the problem with me, that I never chose. I tried to follow in his pathway, and he never subscribed to any one particular style. And I wanted to also do a whole host of styles as well. So I think that is how I started off in the martial arts. I was pulled into karate in a very strange way. I was set up on a date by a colleague of mine, and I just started teaching in a new area of Verulam, which is in north of Durban. And so this date was with the person who's now my husband of 28 years. So it's rather strange. And going on the first date, I think, you're always on edge, and you never know who you're going to be going out with. So you try to set yourself up so that you appear physically strong. So I said, I do the martial arts, and only to hear that my husband does karate, and he was a higher belt than I was. So I think automatically I ended up being pulled in that, but I realized that I needed to move from martial arts to karate when he invited me to watch him fight. And I was not so much impressed with him as I was impressed actually with his sensei. And so Kiyoshi Nikki did Sanshin Kata at this particular event, and he had such a magnificent presence. that I wanted to train under him. And then my husband Rakesh told me, well, you're traveling quite a distance to go and do martial arts. Perhaps since you're so impressed with my sensei, you can train with us. And so that's how I made the shift from the martial arts into karate. And Sensei Kyoshi Nikki is still my sensei up till today. He's no more living in South Africa. So I train via the internet and online classes with him because he's now located in Australia. But that's my move and my change and my shift to karate. Very long story, sorry.
Very intriguing indeed, Sadhana ji. So, wow, it just shows how karate has depicted through all aspects of your life. So that takes me to my next question, Sadhana ji. Has karate cultivated you more internally as a person, or do you feel that it's just made you externally more stronger as a woman? Or do you feel there's a balance between the both?
That's actually an interesting question. And to be honest, I actually think it's a little bit of both, because you are changed internally, you're also changed externally, but there's so much more to this. It is about cultivating a balanced life, doing the things that make you happy, being physically strong, being mentally strong, being spiritually strong. I don't think I've ever atomized my life to the extent that I would say karate only does this for me, or karate only does that for me. I think that it builds you as a human being in multiple ways, that strengthens you, and allows you to actually take your potential and maximize on your potential. And this for me, I think has been the greatest benefit.
Yeah, indeed, karate is in terms of mental stamina as well as physical ability. What are the benefits of practicing karate, and how can one transform as an individual with this sport?
Okay, so I think that transformation within, and I'm going to again start with your second question first. Transforming within the sport is up to you as an individual. Karate does, and your sensei, who's your teacher, right, never really pushes you into being somebody you don't want to be. So there are always these choices that you can make. So if you choose to do competition karate, then that's the route you go. If you choose not to do it, then you don't. I gave up doing competition karate for many years. I was doing it in the early 1990s, and that was during apartheid, and there were lots of hurdles during that time for Black karatekas. And I stopped. I didn't like the context of competition. I felt that it was a very, very negative atmosphere for competition, and I didn't want to continue doing competition karate. But I didn't stop doing karate. I continued with it. And then I once again returned to competition karate at a much later time, when one of my coaches suggested that, I think we're now a democracy. I think the space is right. I think that you need to now start contributing to a wider platform of karatekas, and to be able to share your knowledge. And the best way of doing this is to get back into competition karate. So I was convinced in that way. And that's how I altered, I changed, but it was not forced upon me. I think that this, like I said, there's so many benefits of practicing karate, because for me now, having done karate and still doing it for so many years, it's a way of life. It's part of who I am, what I do, where I go. Even if I travel, I'm not just traveling to enjoy the environment. I'm traveling, and I will find a local karate club to do a little bit of training, to find out about what's going on in terms of karate, etc. I think you just sculptured in a way to be stronger, emotionally, spiritually, intellectually, to maximize on life itself. Even the practice of karate itself, when you start off in a class. So you start with what's called moksu, where you settle your mind, where you sit and you just compose yourself. And that happens at the beginning of a class and it happens at the end of a class. So you just rest for a while, you take in the environment, you try to now pull everything together so you can focus on the karate lesson itself, on the training itself to maximize your performance. So that's important because you need the stamina for the class. You need to work hard. You need to remember your techniques in the class. You need to perform these techniques naturally with power. You need to be able to react in a fight sequence if you're fighting. You need agility to move. You need so many things. But you should be then able to maximize. And that is why just honing yourself and focusing is so important at the beginning, at the end of the class, because it pulls all of those things together within the class. And I think that's where it transforms me. And I see the benefits for me as a human being. I see myself spiritually being quite in tune with who I am, with life, with needing to feed myself as a human being in so many ways, mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, intellectually, and to be able to also survive in South Africa, you need all of these various tenets to your personality. You could be walking to your car and somebody would want to possibly steal from you or hold you up. You should be able to defend yourself. You may be in a conversation with somebody, and if you're not strong enough to have your viewpoint put across, you won't be able to then justify your argument. And karate teaches you to be able to respond and to respond adequately. And so does, interestingly enough, my academic work. So they almost, I think, feed off each other there.
Indeed, I see how karate and yoga symbolizes each other in a very synchronous way. Like you see the discipline, and then you see the actual practices. Very interesting. Can you share some of the experiences along your journey in karate where it was life-changing? Did you experience any life-changing experiences with this journey of karate?
I think that karate has, I think for me, the biggest experience in karate has been in a class where you are not seen as a woman, you're just seen as a karateka. And that for me was important. And it had a lot of meaning for me because I then try not to always define myself in terms of how others may perceive me. So being in a karate class, I think it's a great equalizer. And for me, that was the defining aspect of it, because when I'm in karate, it's not about being the professor. You just sadhana. And you sadhana, and no one sees you as sadhana who's female. You are there as a karateka. You need to give up your best as a karateka, and you would need to do everything everyone else does in class. And I think as well, what really was important for me when I started off karate was that in terms of equalizing the playing fields, was that you needed to clean the gym before you started training. You needed to make sure everything was neat and tidy when you left. You needed to be on time. If there was a grading and you had to grade and you were not there on time, that door closed regardless of your reason, and you would miss a grading. And only when you were then selected for another grading would you, and this time you learned the lesson. You pitched up on time. So I think those were quite a number of life-changing lessons for me, because you learn a level of discipline You learn that everyone is the same. You learn that you are not particularly special when you are in this class. You try as hard as everybody else and you fulfill your potential. That's what you're here to do. And I think for me, those were very important changes.
Wow, very interesting indeed. What are the challenges you faced during this journey as being an academician and a sports person together? How did you balance that professionalism between your career and in this journey of sport?
Okay, so I think for me, I'm actually averse to that word challenge. It has such a negative connotation. And I think coming from an education background, I like to see it as the lessons to be learned wherever you are. Accept the lesson as a learning curve and emerge as a better human being. So for me, I've never seen anything as a challenge that I now have to overcome. I've seen it as a lesson. Learn it, see how you can grow from this, and be a better person. And obviously, the two aspects of my identity that you mentioned, being a professor at university and being a highly ranked karateka, they're not my only two identities. I am someone's wife. I'm a mother. I am a daughter-in-law. I'm so many other things in terms of my identity. But the two that you particularly speak about, I think that I have never needed to choose karate over academia or academia over karate or any of my other identities that I have. I think I've been able to manage my life in such a way that they almost seamlessly flow into each other. And in this way, I think it has made me complete rather than having these competing domains to my personality. So I think in this way, the university, for example, has always supported me. When I apply for leave and I need to take part in competitions, I've never had UKZN say, no, we deny you leave. They're actually just fabulous. They understand that I need to be doing so many things to give off my best as an academic. And so that's what they allow me to do, to grow as this human being. And I think that for maybe the one aspect of that I particularly find difficult to do is being in long academic meetings. I think as a sports person, possibly that's the most painful part of my life. If I have to sit in a long meeting, I think I avoid those because I'm itchy. You always want to be doing things. You always want to be active. And so maybe that's the one aspect of my life. But luckily, so far I've managed very well. I've been very long in academia and haven't had immensely long meetings. But I think that these two parts of me feed off so well that I've just published a book in December 2020, the one that we spoke about some time ago. And that book is titled From High Risk Sports to Sports is High Risk. And that was a labor of love. That's actually an academic effort about sport in South Africa and how it has been impacted upon by the COVID-19 pandemic. And have also included our neighboring country, Zimbabwe, as well. And in this particular book, I have a chapter about myself in terms of, so it's from an autoethnographic lens where I speak about or write about the details of my karate training pre-COVID-19 and during the pandemic. So the academia and the sport has almost fused in a way in which they bring out the best in each other, I think. And that's where I am at the moment.
I see that your career has helped you and supported you in terms of going further in karate. That's such a beautiful way of life, I would say. What advice can you give to our viewers who are interested in taking up karate as a sport?
And firstly, if you do any sport, that's good. You don't have to be doing karate. Whatever sport you do, just enjoy it. Be the best that you can. And I tell everybody, if you have this urge, this passion inside that's burning inside of you to want to do something, then it's like the Nike slogan: just do it. Don't pause, don't think about. You're never too old. For karate, by the way, you're never too old. You're never too young. And you should never stop practicing. I have mothers in my karate class that train with their children. Of course, they're all younger than me. I probably am the oldest in the class because I'm well over 50. But so karate keeps you young. You don't have to, like I said, be doing karate competition-wise. You do it for the love of it. And any sport, you should be able to defend yourself. So that is why karate is so important in society. You must be able to be confident. It helps you to be that way. You need to just maximize what you do in a day. And you need to be happy doing it. So if karate is your choice of sport, don't pause. Take it up and make sure that you enjoy it. Find the club that is there, that is going to support you. Because you do have karate clubs that may not support you in the way you want. It's the same as a school. It's the same as a teacher. You need to find the right teacher. You need to find the right club. You need to find the right environment so that you can grow and you can enjoy what you do. And when you do that, then you'll probably be like me with your sensei for 30 years.
Indeed, Sadhana ji. Sadhana ji, you're motivation, a role model, not to just women, but to the whole entire world. You break stereotypes and barriers in just everything with your career in education and in your sport. And like you said, you're a woman with so many roles. You're a mom, you're a wife, you're a daughter. But can you tell us what inspires you and motivates you to continue with karate?
Okay, so it's just I think while karate is always something that I speak a lot about, I think you need to know that I do other sport as well. So I swim a lot because I live at the ocean, and my sons surf as well. So we're in the ocean quite a bit. And in fact, my son was the first Indian surfer. So I think that this entire idea of sport, and I also dance. So I've been doing a little longer than karate, actually. I started dance when I was at university. So I do Latin American and ballroom dancing. So I continue with the karate, I continue with the dancing, I continue with the swimming, I continue with all the sport because they all motivate me, they all inspire me. And they all make me who I am. I think there's so much to learn, and particularly in all of my sport, and I enjoy it. That is, for me, the most fabulous thing about life is that do the things you want to do, and if you think you want to do multiple sports, then go ahead. But in terms of karate that you've mentioned, I was planning to go to Japan to train before COVID struck, and changed everyone's plans, not just mine. So I'm still determined to travel. I see myself in this post-pandemic time going to Japan, the home of karate, to train with other grandmasters. My own grandmaster, my initial grandmaster, Hayashi, who was the 10th Dan, and I trained under him. He passed on in the 1990s. Sensei Inoue, who we were later affiliated to from the style of Shitori, which I do, also passed on a good few years ago. So I want to go and meet other grandmasters. I want to make this trip to Japan. And so I am motivated then in terms of widening my learning curve and in karate. But like I said, I'm also doing a whole host of other sports, and I would like to also continue to do those and to excel in that as well.
Remember, heels together, left hand over right hand. Go into your step out, straighten and punch. Let's do 10 punches. We're going to make sure that you focus your punch correctly. Itch, knee, san, chi, go. Ruk, sich, hach, ku, chu. Let's go into Aga Uke from here. Rising block. Make sure your hand comes in front of your face and goes out. Ich, ni, san, chi, go. Ruk, sich, hach, ku, chu. Go into Uruke, block to the side. Here, round and going out. Ich, ni, san, chi, go. Ruk, sich, hach, ku, chu. Remember, hand must finish off in line with your shoulder. Hand must come around, work out, so that if you are fighting somebody, you're pushing their hand away. Hand comes to the back, upside down, pull back. And from there, it's to Uchuke. Hand comes underneath and block around. From the bottom, around and out. Let's go. Ich, ni, san, chi, go. Ruk, sich, hach, ku, chu. Tiranuke. Ich, ni, san, chi, go. Make sure it's in line with your knee. Okay, just in front, hands pulled back. On the side and across. Ich, ni, san, chi, go. Ruk, sich, hach, ku, chu. Let's go into Geri Kamai. Feet together, hands to your side, as if you are holding your two suitcases. When you pick up your knee, make sure that you fold your toes back. Like that. Extend, fold. Right, so this is my Giri Chudan. Ich, ni, san, chi, go. Ruk, sich, hach, ku, chu. Right? Make sure all the time you pull back your knee. Right, up. Extend the foot, kicking with the ball of your feet, big back your knee up, and hands to the side. All the time, and your feet down. Okay, so from here, back into Mitsubidashi, step forward. Right? Zenkutsudashi, long stance. You're then going to do 5 punches, and you're going to mate. Step and punch. Okay? Alright, so do 5 of those. And then mate. If you have done your last punch, remember your mate, leg at the back, move straight across, bring your hand up to prepare, and turn. Yeah. Right, so when you finish doing 5 of that, then you can do 5 uruke blocks. And do the same at your 5th. Foot goes across, prepare, hand comes up, hiranuke. Okay, let's stop there for now. Please practice that.
Sadhana Ji, you are spellbinding in terms of, wow, so many sport choices. You leave us so spoiled for choice when it comes to you as an individual. Thank you so much for that beautiful journey and sharing that experience with us. It was indeed something very energetic and vibrant. With that, we've come to the conclusion of episode 1 of Khel Vishwa with Professor Sadhana Manik. And I would like to now introduce Mr. CPM Chunu from the Swami Vivekananda Cultural Center at the Consulate General of India in Durban to render this afternoon's vote of thanks.
Namaskar. Namaskar to all of you. On behalf of Swami Vivekananda Cultural Center at the Consulate General of India in Durban, I am so pleased today to deliver a vote of thanks on our first episode of the program, Khel Vishwa, meaning the world of sport. Today we had a very special, wonderful guest, Professor Sadhana Manik. She is a karateka. So I was very touched because I understand that karate is a sport that is dominated by males. But when she told me that she is a karateka for the last 29 years, on my mind, it just came to me, it says she's an Iron Lady and 29 years of karateka. And also she's multi-talented. She's doing a lot of other sports. It's unbelievable. And your story, ma'am, it's a good news to us, and it gives us hope, for our children also, if they can just follow on your footsteps. It means for our kids, the future is right. It was a very interesting, more especially it's coming from the ladies' side. I was touched. Thank you very much, ma'am. So the interaction was conducted by Sristi Ji from Swami Vivekananda Cultural Center. It was a very wonderful, interesting interactions. To both of you, Professor Sadhana Manik Ji, Sristi Ji, Dhanyavad for these discussions that you have. May God bless you. To Director of Swami Vivekananda Cultural Center, Dr. Chaitanya Prakash Yogi, Sristi Harinarayan, Sri Piyush Kandelwal, thank you very much to all of you for taking part on today's program. To all those who participated online, we'd like to say thank you very much. Please visit our Facebook page so that you'll be updated of all cultural activities organized by Swami Vivekananda Cultural Center in Durban. Once again, Professor Sadhana Manik Ji, thank you very much, ma'am. May God bless you. To all of you, have a wonderful evening. Namaskar.